thought I mentioned it at the meeting, but so I don't know if it's that late. I got a thing to
You on the list?
but if I had not made the list, I would have gotten that.
Yeah, no, what you told me.
Well, he probably
All meeting order, all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This regular meeting of the Township Council is being held in accordance with the scheduled meetings of the Township Council established and adopted by the Township Council, with scheduled designated time, date, and place of this meeting. Adequate public notice of this meeting has been provided pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act. Where using electronic amplifying recording device in order to obtain audible and clear record, request all those wishing to speak to be recognized, state your name and address directly into the microphone. Recording device to be solely utilized by the Township Clerk's Office shall be the official record of the Township Council meeting. Roll call, please.
Mr. Hutchison.
Present.
Mr. Schmidt. Yes. Mr. Fowler. Present. Mrs. Stentek. Here. Mrs. Trotto. Here. Mr. Mercado.
Mr. Mercado will be late and will be attending shortly.
Mr. Bianchini.
Present.
Mayor.
Here.
Mr. Malfa.
Present.
Mr. Lechner.
Here.
Deputy Chief Harkins.
Here.
Mr. Carlemere.
Here.
Mr. Carter.
Here.
Presentation. Mayor? This council's pleasure that we're going to be honoring two groups from the Timber Creek High School, and I would ask May Robinson if you come up and join us, please, principal of Timber Creek High School. The first group is the Timber Creek wrestling team, and I would ask Coach Dick Catone to come up. Timber Creek, in its short history, has really gone unbelievable, have done unbelievable things as a wrestling organization. They've, over the past few years, have really put Timber Creek on the map of wrestling, and they, I think for most of the year, were ranked number one or up there in the top 10 in South Jersey, and is a well-respected program. So I'm going to read the proclamation. Whereas Mayor David R. Mayer and Council of the Township of Gloucester are pleased to grant recognition to the Timber Creek Regional High School wrestling team for their outstanding achievements. And whereas the wrestling team's achievement for this year include 3-2 at Virginia Duels, won the Olympic Conference for the fourth time, won fourth South Jersey Group 3 title, defeating Shawnee and Toms River South. Beat Bound, Brook, Kitney, and Camden Catholic, all state-ranked teams. Won their 4th District 30 title, 6 individual champs, and 11 qualified for Region 4. 4 regional champs and 6 qualified for the state tour. 3 state place winners, and finished the season 21-3. Ranked number 1 in the Carrier Post and 7th in the state. Whereas the members of the 2011-2012 Timber Creek Regional High School Wrestling Team, and the coach will announce who they are. Now therefore, I, David Mayer, and Council of the Township of Gloucester, do hereby commend the Timber Creek Wrestling Team and coaches for their exceptional efforts as evidenced by their accomplishments. Coach, congratulations. They're just in order.
All right, I'm going to call out the members of our wrestling team. First one is John Amato. I apologize. Our wrestlers aren't here today, unfortunately. I'm going to speak on behalf of them as if they are here. John was a region champ this year. He was 16-5 season record. Joey DiMartino, he was 22-12. He was our 113-pounder. Alan Gwynn, 15-7. Alan's a graduating senior. Alan is going into the military also. Ricky Carter. Ricky was 33-11. He had a career record of 90-22. He's a 3-time state place winner, 1-time region champ, 2-time region finalist, and he's going to attend Gloucester County College next year. Nick Virgilio, unfortunately Nick suffered an injury and was able to return to our lineup about midway through the season. He ended up finishing 5-2. He'll be a junior next year, and we look for good things from him. Austin Solo. Austin was 1-0. He kind of had a hard time finding a spot in our lineup, but he's a guy that, he's a varsity caliber wrestler. He's in the room every day working hard. And again, he'll be a guy we'll count on for next year. Brandon Virgilio, season record 27-9. Brandon was second in District 30, and he was 2-2 at the region tournament, and he'll be a senior next year, senior captain next year. Brandon Keller, 3-time state place winner. He was a runner-up in the state of New Jersey this year. 3-time region champion, 3-time district champion. Brandon's on pace to go to school like University of Pennsylvania or Stanford. He's very good academically. Carries a 4.2 GPA as we speak. Isaiah DeGuzman. Isaiah was 20-2 this year. I'm sorry. He was 20-12 this year. He's a junior. Next year he'll be a senior, and we look for good things from Isaiah. Dominic Ruggiero is a junior captain. Dominic was 26-9 this year, 3rd in Region 8. He's 3rd in Region 8 twice. Went to the state tournament, won a match his junior year and his sophomore year. Next year, we look for some good things from Dominic. Bryce Shade. Bryce Shade, 32-7. Bryce was his 2-time Region 8 champion, two-time District 30 champion. Bryce will be a senior next year. We look for good things out of Bryce also. Robert Shade, we call him Blaze Shade. He's a graduating senior. He's looking to go to UNC Prep, they call it, UNC Pembroke or Newberry. He hasn't made his decision yet, but he was 38-5 on the season, career record of 110-20, Region A champion, and placed 5th in the state of New Jersey. Corey Turner. Corey finished the season 16-12. Corey, he was a senior last year. He was a 3-year junior varsity wrestler on a good team. Got his chance last year. Did a nice job. We asked him to move up and weight a lot. Weighted 160, wrestled 182 a lot. But he ended up with a winning record and ended up leaving Timber Creek with a lot to be proud of. So. Matt Coots ended up 15-15. Another one who was on the junior varsity as a freshman, sophomore, and junior. Ended up varsity. 15-15, wrestling 195 pounds. Second team all conference, and had a chance to go to the region tournament. So that was a good accomplishment for Matt. Shaler Blackshear. Shaler was a senior. Wrestled his freshman and sophomore year. He took off his junior year, came back as a senior, and ended up being a big reason, why our team had such success. He actually won a couple matches for us in the end there, where he came through and won some big matches. But he ended up, 3rd in District 30 and going to the region tournament, wrestling there. So he ended up, getting his chance to perform on a varsity level and have some real success. Joe Murat. Joe was a 10th grader last year, wrestling heavyweight. He was 8-13. Joe, we look for some good things out of Joe. Young kid wrestling in a big boy division. I think as a junior and senior, he's going to do real well for us. So look for some good things out of him. And then Greg Webb, we have. He was our heavyweight. He got hurt last year, unfortunately. He was 3-0 before he got hurt. His career record 77-8, and he was a 2-time Region A champion and a 1-time state place winner. So he's a junior. If he comes back as a senior, then he's going to be real beneficial for us. I just want to thank everyone for their support. And even if it just means following us in the newspaper, I really can't ask for much more than that. We're gonna continue to achieve the type of success that we have in the past. So, I look forward to it, and hopefully I'll be up here next year saying the same thing.
We'll be back next year, I'm sure.
Well, Coach Nick, we congratulate you and your coaches and all the wrestlers from Timber Creek for really making history 4 years in a row. It's a tremendous accomplishment, and we should be very proud of what our Gloucester Township community has produced. And we congratulate you, Ms. Robinson, and the entire faculty and student body at Timber Creek for putting Gloucester Township on the map, and we thank you for that. Wrestling takes not only strength, but it also is a lot of heart and soul that goes into wrestling. And so thank you for showing that strength, but showing that heart and that determination, that discipline. Now, I will tell you, Glenn Bianchini was a wrestler from Collingswood, so if you ever need him on the team, you can ask Glenn to participate. Nobody wants to wrestle him, but I mean, you can, he's a good wrestler. But no, wrestling is a great sport, and we congratulate all the winners on your team, and for, again, making history here in Gloucester Township. So, Coach Nick, thank you so very much for what you've done. Congratulations.
Mrs. Robinson, you can stay up here. Keep her working. Is the band director, Dan O'Neill, here? I got to tell you, if you don't know already, Gloucester Township has some of the finest musicians and folks handling our young people in the band today. Every one of the high schools have done an outstanding job. And again, Timber Creek in their short history has just shot to the top. And I've watched many of their performances. My son is in the band at Highland High School. And I can tell you, these people work hard. They work hard day in and day out. They work hard over the summer. It's just amazing the amount of work that each and every one of them put in, and I'm very, very proud to be able to honor them tonight. Again, we'll read the proclamation. Whereas Mayor David R. Mayer and Council of the Township of Gloucester are pleased to grant recognition to the Timber Creek Regional High School Marching Band for their outstanding achievements. And whereas the Timber Creek Marching Band has entered many local, state, and national competitions, and the marching band members have received numerous awards and accolades, the Timber Creek Marching Band also provides many services for the community by participating in local parades. Whereas the members of the 2011-2012 Timber Creek Regional High School Marching Band are, and will be announced. Now therefore I, David Mayer, Mayor and Council of the Township of Gloucester, do hereby commend the Timber Creek Marching Band for their exceptional efforts as evidenced by their accomplishments. Congratulations.
Before I call the students up here, there are about 52 of them, so I won't go into, we'll be here all night. But I will say that all my kids are pretty academically driven, with about 52 kids. We have like I think they're averaging like a 3.6 GPA, with several of them at a 4.0 or above. So while they listen to me shouting at them at rehearsal, while they have to listen to me and my voice, they then have to go home and listen to their parents tell them to get on the books. So I'm really proud of all their accomplishments outside of my rehearsals as well. So first, some of them aren't here, but I'll just read the names. Ifia Chu, Talon Allen, if you're here, come on up. Paige Austin. Michelle Bonadies. Now we have to read off the other names. Danielle Brandis. Brittany Chan. And her best friend, Heather Chan. Sydney Cooper Goodman. Christian Cortez. Destiny Dang. Juliana Davis. Lisette Drew. Danielle Fithian. Daniel Fithian. Danielle. Sorry. It's a name I get wrong all the time. Don't tell me I said that. Colin Flynn. Crystal Fredericks. Desiree Furberg. Tatiana Gibson. Chaz Gill. Matthew Greger. Deja Greer. Jenna Herbert. Allison Hughes. Julie Hunter. Sunita Kem. And her sister looks nothing like her, Santavi Kem. Trish Corte. John Lacey. Jessica Laos. Samantha Laos. Gabby Martinez. Emily McMaster. Michael McMaster. Alexa Miranda. Jeremy Montez. Jose Morales. Samantha Morrissey. Joseph Munson. Joel Noodleman. Eric O'Neill. Michael O'Sullivan, Jr. Dominic Palazzo. Jalen Patterson. William Purcell. Sierra Rocco. Yinka Sadiq Lexton. Corey Schilling. Taylor Smith. Emily Spalding. Sean Spillane. Kayla Valentine. And Nick Weintraub.
Well, Coach O'Neill, congratulations to you, or Director O'Neill, congratulations to you on another great season, and to all the members of the marching band. You know, you are a great example of what Gloucester Township is. And as I mentioned about wrestling, you know, being in the marching band takes a great deal of discipline and a great deal of coordination and a great deal of hard work. And I know, you know, Glenn was a wrestler, but I actually was a percussionist in the marching band. I went to Triton, so I played the drums and what's that? Oh no, I can't do that anymore. I'm too old to play that. But I know the discipline and the hard work and the amount of hours that you put in to practice, and certainly your hard work has paid off. Again, you are a great example of our citizens here in Gloucester Township. I congratulate you on behalf of our council and the mayor's office on a job well done, and the administration at Timber Creek. So continue to shine, continue to be the individuals that you are, great examples of the citizens of Gloucester Township. So congratulations to all of you. Job well done. Thank you.
We'll take a 5-minute recess.
How was supposed to
Benny, you look mild. Benny, you look mild and calm.
That's me.
You didn't look mild in that video.
I'll let you care.
Mild.
No comment. No comment. There you go. That's it. And I'm sticking to it. Rehearsing my thanks for helping me to rehearse.
Coach, I couldn't hear you.
Just in case, right? Yes, you do. Stuff going on here. Stuff, big town. I think I'm good. It's a long day.
One time.
That's just once.
He and I went to the only thing is, I'm proud of you.
What's great about being my size.
Right.
Most of the time people leave me alone.
But you know, there's always a little one who wants to stand up to the big one, but it makes them feel big. I call it a little man comfort.
Whatever they want to do.
You know what, though? I really struggled with the guy. I don't think 5'2". He's some way he started doing a bunch of stuff.
All day.
When I climbed up on a bar,
It doesn't matter your size, it's no matter how bad you are.
I texted Teresa. I was like, wrestlers are here getting free.
you never know.
I ended up having to fight with him that second time, so I learned. See, I came in and said, oh, he's small. I'll take, I ain't gonna try to do this. But by the time lockout was he already I mean, he didn't hurt me, he scored me.
Right.
So the next time, I did my mind, I got to take another hurt to get him out of the way. But that's how you have to do it. Like that, but you never know what's coming behind them.
Sure.
Chihuahua turned into a
Yeah.
right there.
You know what, though? I got news for you. News for you, but
What's that?
Trying to get these tickets sold.
There's so many other things.
Yeah, we got some chicks coming in. I picked up a couple of games. And I just talked to Joanne. She got like 3 chicks coming. Yeah. And nobody else.
Puts everything in the
Committee.
perspective.
But that's okay. And then
How you doing, all right?
Puts it in perspective.
How you doing?
they got some contact with us. Yeah, farmer's market.
Hi, how you doing? How are you?
Oh, good. It's gonna be great. Every year.
No, I didn't. I got
Not me.
Hey, how you doing? Good, all right? How's everything going? What else you want to know?
What's up, Johnny? How you been, brother?
That was having a good time back there.
No, they actually sell it down
Well, it is their or the
See you later. Thanks.
Johnny.
Call the meeting back to order, please. Roll call, please.
Mr. Hutchison?
Present.
Mr. Schmidt? Yes. Mr. Silas? Here. Mrs. Gintek? Here. Mrs. Strato? Here. Mr. Mercado?
Present.
Mr. Bianchini?
Present. Now have the first public portion. Anyone wishing to speak on any agenda item only may come and address the council. But before we do that, I'd like to just remind everyone that please direct all your questions to the council president. I will direct them to whomever it pertains to, or if you ask that I direct the question to someone in particular, I will do that. I would ask that you face the council and address the question to me. If anybody on council wishes to address something and I haven't sent it that way, by all means, council can ask for that question to answer that question. Just ask that everybody talk and not yell, and that we all just address each other in a professional and adult way. With that, do we have anybody? Yes, sir.
Paul DiBartolo, Ohio Avenue, Blackwood. On this first reading ordinance 0-12-12, I was just looking at it back there. I'm unfamiliar with. It looks like the lion's share of the money that's trying to be raised is for the Kiwanis. What's the status of the Kiwanis building? Is that privately owned, or is the township responsible?
That was purchased a while back, and I don't remember the date, but it was purchased by the county of Camden and given to the township. So it's a township property. The building, which I believe is approximately 40, 50 years old, maybe even older, has some major issues that we are concerned with as a safety hazard. So there's some drainage issues there also that need to be taken care of because it's washing the hills away. And so we're trying to maintain that building.
What is its general use now? I mean, I know it was Little League.
It still is, sir.
Okay.
The main use is for the Little League Club.
Okay.
I mean, there is a room upstairs that is open. there could be meetings held there and things like that. But in the way it is right now, we really need to take care of some of the foundation issues and some of the drainage issues that we have.
So who uses the field now?
Blackwood Kiwanis Little League.
Okay, so we still have two, being it's a township, wouldn't it make sense to, I mean, I originally had a couple of my children in Kiwanis and then moved over to GT, which is strictly township, I guess, as opposed to Kiwanis.
Well, each club is really a private organization.
Okay, it is.
They have their own boards. They all run by the rules of whoever sanctioned them. In this case, Blackwood Kiwanis is Little League. GT Baseball is Babe Ruth, so they have different regulations and things that they must do. But that's what they handle. The fields, all the fields are owned by the township.
Are they used free?
To those clubs, absolutely.
Yes, okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Mr. Burke.
Hi, I'm Russell Bird, 51 Hilltop Avenue. I have comments on two things and actually questions associated with them on two agenda items that are being addressed today. One, the GEMS landfill, I think it's a really good idea if the numbers work out. My understanding is that there's 120 acres and only 70 of it is capped and 50 acres is not. Are we looking to cover all 120 acres for the solar farm?
I don't believe that's our intention. Do you have any updates on that?
As you know, right now, we're still in the process of doing the redevelopment plan to allow the land uses. What will happen as it moves along, there'll be negotiations with various providers the township may enter into, or however the township decides to arrange for this as we move along. And then we'll have to make business decisions. No part of the GEMS landfill is being ruled out for use for solar, but anything else actually under this. But there's obviously, you don't want to put anything in the north bay, and there's going to be sun. There's areas where
Right, shaded and all that.
So there's a lot of business decisions that providers will have to make when we do that part.
Okay, you got to be careful, as you know, with the cats. So that's always a priority.
Right, and I've actually seen designs where that shouldn't actually be an issue, that they're now using, where there's the uprights, and then on the bottom cross beam, they basically form concrete as a weight, and for 1,200 or 1,500 pounds, it'll hold to 120 miles an hour wind, which is no more than we get here. And then if you need to move them, you just hook a truck to them and drag them, so they never perforate the cap. So you should never have a problem with that. But within your RFP, I think you should definitely put a zero dig provision in there, so that no one even attempts to go, below 6 inches in the surface. But I have another question relating to that. Do we have any retail clients who could possibly use that we can hook directly to? Because I understand our Public Works Department is actually backs up to it. Can we feed our own Public Works Department and get it at a similar rate that we are doing with Owens Corning at the 5 cents versus the retail of whatever it is, 16 or 17 cents?
I'm not sure about that, Russ, but I don't know if there's...
I really think it's too early to discuss that.
Right.
Okay.
We're really not that far.
But believe me, if we could use that electricity to reduce any cost for the township, we would definitely do that.
Okay. The other issue that is being taken up is the redevelopment of Blackwood Clement Road. As part of that contract that we're going to give to T&M, are we mandating or dictating any type of conditions on that plan? Because I have read the study that was done a couple of years ago, and there are certain really glaring things that are in there. One is about putting traffic circles on Blackwood Clement Road to reduce the traffic flow rate. And now, traffic circles are a bit outdated and impractical, but the point is, we need to lower the rate of the road, the speed of the road. It is part of that engaging the county, because it is a county road, to first lower the speed limit by, say, 5 miles an hour. But also we have to engage the county about the structure of the road. There are points in there where it's as wide as 5 travel lanes, which is unsafe. It goes from like 7-Eleven all the way down to Friendly's Ice Cream. And people travel up there at 50 miles an hour and they cut back in. That lane's got to end. That's got to be a right turn only or eliminate the lane. Then on the other end, down by Highland High School, there's a crosswalk, maybe 100 feet from Highland. To cross from Highland, you cross the other side, there's no sidewalk. It falls down into some guy's field. Nobody crosses there. Why is that even there? Okay. The other point about that is I think we should also propose that it be pedestrian friendly. Within that area, we have 2 large housing developments, one Cherrywood, and I don't remember what the other one on the other side is, but I've seen a number as many as 10,000 people who live there. But those people don't walk to Kmart. There's no access. There's no way to cross the road. The only crossing is in front of Friendly's. So, behind Cherrywood, there is a road that goes through there, but it ends at the church. Maybe we can convince the church to help us put a pedestrian path behind there, so people can walk to, wherever they go to Kmart or whatever. The other thing is we have to engage the people who actually own the land. Have we gone to somebody like a Dave Zally who owns a ShopRite? That place is always jammed. If we convince him to move to a larger facility further down the road, he'd make a killing. So are these things that are going to be included? Because T&M is basically an engineering company. They're really not a business development company. So.
Well, Russ, you have brought up a lot of great points, and I can tell you that early plan looked at it making, doing away with the big frontage that you have like in front of Kmart,
right,
and having side streets that would be more like a downtown area. There's just a lot of things that can go on there, so I think your points are all well taken. I think everything's going to be looked at because we really do need to revive that area and make that thriving for the township. So I think everything's up to be looked at, everything will be looked at, and the goal here is to make that a viable plan that we put to use.
I think you should mandate some of those things onto T&M to, say make it more pedestrian friendly, to, ease the flow of traffic, engage the county, so we can better execute whatever plan they come up with.
Well, I think we definitely have to engage the county. It is their road there, so
exactly.
They would be part of it. They'll be down at the table too.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Russ. Anyone else? Seeing no other hands? Yes, sir.
Evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for this opportunity to speak. There's been a problem. My name is John Romano. This is my wife, Kathleen. We live in the Glendora section. We have a problem, a very severe drainage problem now. It's never existed. March and April, there's about 16 feet of ground, that's public ground, behind my homes and the other development. That's all you got left from one ball field to the next. For some reason or other, the township wanted to make a pathway, a walkway, all the way up to the fields. And without any notice or any warning to any of us, a lot of people were upset. They just showed up one morning with bulldozers. The path they made is not the best. There are concerns of safety, especially for children riding bikes. There are hazards on the pathway. Down right behind my house, it's nice and wide. All of a sudden, it goes. Unsafe. There's also an erosion problem. Right behind my house, it's up on a higher level. I have pictures here if you wish to have them.
Yes, sir. You can give them to the clerk, please. Right here. I'm sorry.
The hill that is there is actually washing away. Every time we get rain, it washes away, and there's a huge tree now that's
It will be cutting
undermined,
into
it's coming down,
that tree.
and nobody's listening.
And when that tree comes down, because it's being undermined, it's coming on my property and my pool. It's no longer will be considered as an act of God by any insurance company. It's been undermined by people. But the worst part of this project that you did, for some reason or other, you came onto my property. I have severe property damage, and it's flooding that I never had before. We tried to communicate with Public Works. The rudeness at the end of the project. They made an appointment with my wife, no show, no phone calls, no nothing. To me, if you've seen this ground, there was no proper planning. There was no thought process. Sometimes when you do a job, you have to always think, well, what's the end result? There was no knowledgeable engineering. You have to follow laws of drainage. There should have been a licensed engineer on this to make sure that laws of drainage were being followed. There was no proper cost analysis. There couldn't have been, because the job is sloppy. There was a lack of caring, listening, and rudeness existed towards the end of the project. With all this, I come to my opinion and my feeling that this was negligence and incompetence. My ground has been damaged severely, and I'm going to get more. Because where we live at, years ago in this township, it was a Mississippi River back there.
I've been there since 1957. We moved
1955.
Okay, and what used to happen, the water used to come from Evesham Road, which is called Floodgate Road, that comes down the back. The water would gush down there. Okay, we couldn't, as kids, we couldn't go in the backyard because there was a 15-foot drop. Now, most of the ground was owned by Mr. Shaw at the time. Okay, and it was sold off to Fernwood White Birch. But this was a river that came through. Well, the engineers had come out and they graded all the grounds, and I lived there, graded all the grounds down into
Gullies or pathways?
Gully, and they put a piping to drain the water off, which is still there. But now my ground is flat. So what's happened, the water from the drainage area is now rushing into my backyard, coming down off the hill, right in. We don't want that. You know, and all it's netting that has been put up there with hay.
It's not working.
And every time it rains, it's all falling down. Now, they showed up tonight about 4:30 and threw some grass seed. With tomorrow's rain, that's going to wash right into my backyard.
There's 3 elevations. I have an elevation here, an elevation up here, and an elevation here. When these professional engineers, years ago, I have an old picture here to see all what they did. Everything was perfectly done. Nobody's yard was consumed by anybody else's drainage. Everything ran off. It's a designated waterways. Mine now is flat, and I'm going to get beat. Especially when torrential rains come, heavy downpours, I'm going to take a beating. All I have now is a dust bowl back there. After it rains, I have mud for a few days. I can't use it. My grandkids can't go back there. I have to let my dog out, but we have to have a rag when she comes back in to wipe off her paws. I never had this. I have photos there, you should see them in there. I had green grass. It's a dust bowl.
We've been in the house.
Everything slanted down to a pathway.
And never, ever had water in the backyard. Never.
Mr. Cantwell, could you take the address and...
I've been to the site. They requested the mayor's office. I've submitted a report late last week. I haven't had a chance to talk to the mayor's office about it. I know Dave wants to discuss it with me. I don't know if Dave has time to read it yet.
Mr. President, I know Mr. Richardson, I know we've met probably a year ago when you came in regarding an issue that you had with one of your neighbors. And trying to address...
We had no issue, sir. We had no issue. I did ask for help to repair. I asked for repair.
I'll speak and...
Okay, go ahead.
So we met a year ago regarding an issue with your neighbors. You then came back in maybe about 3 weeks ago or so.
Right.
Met with us, showed me the pictures of the issue that you had in your backyard with the walking path that was now redesigned, if you will. That Public Works redesigned, put up the new fence that's on in your backyard, and you expressed concern about drainage. I then asked Mr. Cantwell to go out. He did go out. In fact, I went out actually with Mr. Moffett after our meeting. We rode around your area. I looked at it firsthand, saw your photos, asked Mr. Cantwell to go out. He was out there. He left his card, I believe.
Yes, I got the card.
At your door. over to let you know that he was out there to look at the situation. We are meeting, I think, next week, John, whenever it is, our monthly meeting. I meet every month with the engineer to review what we need to do. At the end of the day, we want to make sure that, you know, your property is not affected, but at the same time, we're there to try to solve a problem that is really not only just with your property, but it's all those properties that are right next to the field and then your neighbor's property. So we're trying to do that.
What problems? I'm confused with what problems.
Well, we've had all kinds of problems back there, is my understanding. We had trees that were falling over. We had all kinds of drainage issues back there. And if you look, well, you know firsthand what was done with the hill behind you and the properties that are behind you, and trying to sturdy that you know.
That's going to come down, sir.
I mean,
The tree is getting ready.
It's coming down as of tonight. All that ground.
And what we're doing is trying to address your concerns as best we can.
Well, it would be nice if somebody kept us informed as to what's going on, because the ground, every time it rains, it's washing away, and the tree's going to come down somewhere.
We want to solve the problem. We're going to try to solve the problem as best that we can. Just want you to let everybody know, I've met with you twice.
Well, once. With her and I once. Last year I met with you to ask for help.
Twice.
I have to...
So twice we met. And then I've been out there with Mr. Maffa, and also Mr. Cantwell's been out there.
All right.
We're trying to address the situation best we can, and I appreciate your help in that.
Okay.
Anyway, I lost my chain of thought now.
Could we, Mr. Cantwell, Mayor, maybe put it on the agenda for the workshop?
Yeah, I don't know about the workshop issue, but yeah, we can.
Well, that's fine. If you need to take care of it, by all means, don't slow it down for us.
Yep.
But, you know, whatever you think is bad, I just want to make sure that everybody keeps informed.
Oh, sure. No, that's what we want to do. Yeah.
And I'd like to just say that this is more than one time I heard that there's an issue between me and the neighbor. There's no issues. I never even talked to the man. There was no arguments. He assaulted one of my guests on my property that turned out to be a federal officer. I myself have no concerns. My concern was that it was my property back there. He was destroying it. If you want to use my property, you ask me. If you destroy, I cut my property off. Because no matter what, I will be responsible for liabilities. But there's no issues between me and him. He damaged drainage back there himself.
Right, and that's great. I believe there's no issues. The first time
No, there is none.
came in, there was some
All I care about is my property.
That's perfect.
And now it's totally destroyed back there, and it will get worse. That's all. So I'm just letting council know.
Thank you.
Like I said, I'm hoping for the best here, but I will be prepared for the worst.
Okay.
That's all I'm asking, for some help here, and get the property back in line.
Well, and I have faith in our engineer and in the mayor's office that they...
And also that pathway, it's dangerous for kids bike riding. I don't know why they went that way.
Okay.
All right, I thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you coming. Anyone else? Seeing no other hands, we close the first public portion. Minutes?
Can I read the proclamation?
Oh, I'm sorry. Proclamation.
To recognize National Police Week 2012 and to honor the service and sacrifice of those law enforcement officers killed in the line of duty while protecting our communities and safeguarding our democracy. Whereas there are approximately 900,000 law enforcement officers serving in communities across the United States, including the dedicated members of the Gloucester Township Police Department. And whereas nearly 60,000 assaults against law enforcement officers are reported each year, resulting in approximately 16,000 injuries. And whereas since the first recorded death in 1791, almost 20,000 law enforcement officers in the United States have made the ultimate sacrifice and have been killed in the line of duty. And whereas the names of these dedicated public servants are engraved on the walls of the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial in Washington, D.C. And whereas new names of fallen heroes are now being added to the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial this spring, including 163 officers killed in 2011 and 199 officers killed in previous years. And whereas the service and sacrifice of all officers killed in the line of duty will be honored during the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial Fund's 24th Annual Candlelight Vigil on the evening of May 13, 2012. And whereas the Candlelight Vigil is part of National Police Week, which takes place this year on May 13th to 19th. And whereas May 15th is designated as Peace Officers Memorial Day in honor of all fallen officers and their families, and U.S. flags should be flown at half-staff. And now therefore be it resolved that the Gloucester Township Police Department formally designates May 13th and 19th, 2012 as Police Week in the Township of Gloucester, and publicly salutes the service of law enforcement officers in our community and communities across the nation.
Thank you, Ron. Minutes?
Waive the reading and accept the minutes of the workshop in May and the regular minutes April 23rd.
Motion to accept the minutes.
So moved.
Second.
On the question? Roll call, please.
Mr. Hutchison?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mr. Seiler?
Yes.
Mrs. Stentek? Yes. Mrs. Strato?
Yes.
Mr. Mercado?
Yes.
Mr. Bean King?
Yes. Now I have an ordinance of first reading. Ordinance O-12-12. Bond ordinance authorizing various improvements to recreational facilities in the Township of Gloucester, County of Camden, New Jersey, appropriating the sum of $920,000. Therefore, anticipating the issuance of general obligation bonds or bond anticipation notes of the Township of Gloucester, County of Camden, New Jersey, in the aggregate principal amounts of up to $974,000. I'm sorry. What was the number?
$874,000. It was a typo, correct?
Is the first sum?
The first one's correct, it's the second one is 874.
In the aggregate principal amount of $874,000, making certain determination of covenants and authorizing certain related actions in connection with the foregoing. This ordinance will allow the township to bond the improvements down to Blackwood Kiwanis Little League Fields, which we discussed earlier. Motion to adopt.
So moved.
On the question, roll call, please.
This also includes the recreation building on Broad Acres.
That's true. That's true. You're right. Any other questions? Comments? Roll call, please.
Mr. Hutchison?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
I would like to abstain on this item.
Mr. Seiler?
Yes.
Mrs. Stentek?
Yes.
Mrs. Strato?
Yes.
Mr. Mercado?
I'm going to abstain at coach and league.
Mr. Bean King?
Yes. Now have the resolutions of consent agenda. Any council person wishing to remove any of these resolutions, please let me know now. I have a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved. Second.
On the question, roll call, please.
Mr. Hutchison?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mr. Seiler?
Yes.
Mrs. Stentek?
Yes.
Mrs. Strato?
Yes.
Mr. Mercado?
Yes.
Mr. Bean King?
Yes.
109, resolution accepting the January 1st, 11 to December 31st, 11 municipal audit.
This resolution allows the township to accept the 2011 municipal audit. Tom, anything to add to that?
No, sir.
Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
On the question, roll call, please.
Mr. Hutchison?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mr. Seiler?
Yes.
Mrs. Stentek?
Yes.
Mrs. Strato?
Yes.
Mr. Mercado?
Yes, and congratulations on the clean audit administration at the VA.
Mr. Bean King?
Yes.
110, resolution of the Township Council, of the Township of Gloucester, County of Camden, State of New Jersey, adopting the 2012 calendar year.
As this resolution states, this allows the township to officially adopt the 2012 calendar year budget. Tom, anything to add to that?
Yeah, we did have our public hearing on the budget. As you recall, the state is still in the review process. They have been quite backed up due to cuts in staffing. This morning, the CFO, Christy Arrett, did receive a confirmation from Division of Local Government Services that we are good to go ahead and adopt.
Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
On the question, roll call, please.
Mr. Hutchison?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mr. Seiler?
Yes.
Mrs. Stentek?
Yes.
Mrs. Strato?
Yes.
Mr. Mercado?
Yes.
Mr. Bean King?
Yes. Mayor's report, Mayor.
Thank you, Council President and members of council. Good evening. First of all, you accepted the audit this evening, and as Councilman Mercado mentioned, there were no findings in that audit. I'm very proud of the administration, the finance office, for what they do day in and day out and providing good fiscal responsibility for this community. So it really just really adds to the financial stability of our government, and I appreciate their efforts. I have to tell you, though, I think today marks really an historic event in Gloucester Township's history, because 2.5 years ago we really set out to restore the financial integrity and stability of our government. And you know, we were faced with really unprecedented challenges, financial uncertainties, and quite honestly, if you look at the history of this community, over the last 25 years, there was an average of a 5-cent increase over the last 25 years each year. And I'm really proud to say that together we answered that challenge, because as you just did today, you adopted a budget 3 years in a row that has held the line on municipal taxes. And I appreciate your efforts certainly in doing that. And today, not only have we held the line on our municipal taxes for 3 years, but in a very, very difficult economic climate, today Standard & Poor's has raised our long-term bond rating to an A+. That is extremely, extremely significant, increasing really our credit rating. Which you don't see very often. And not only have we, over the last 2.5 years, refinanced our debt and looking every day, really, at how we can take advantage of lower interest rates. And over the last 2.5 years, we have saved over $1 million in refinancing that debt. But today, this rating increase will also serve our taxpayers and save our taxpayers money long-term into the future. And speaking of the future, it was noted in the S&P, which is a third-party validation, that because of the steps that we have taken, 95% of Gloucester Township's debt will be paid off within 10 years. We're paying debt off faster than we are issuing new debt. Something that is really unheard of, and I congratulate this council for taking those steps in doing that. In fact, S&P stated that this stable outlook reflects S&P's opinion of the township's strong economic indicators and activity, the township's strong finances, which management has maintained over the past 2 fiscal years, and provided additional rating stability. You know, certainly as both our national and our state credit ratings have decreased, Gloucester Township is bucking that trend by providing strong management practices, sound financial planning, and financial stability to our taxpayers. And I want to thank you for your commitment to providing that financial stability to Gloucester Township and for making Gloucester Township a great place to live, work, and play. It is really, I think, a great day for us here in Gloucester Township to show not only our commitment to financial stability, but moving this township forward in that capacity, which will make our credit worthiness even stronger in the future. So I thank you for that and your commitment in support in moving our community forward. So thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mayor. We now have GTE Gov access, and there were 2 questions sent in. The first question was by Adon Choice at 10 Felicia Court in Ariel. The question was, I would like to know why it has become so difficult for groups such as the Boy Scouts or church groups to obtain senior center for special events. This has become quite an issue since the current administrations of office are taxes paid for the center, and we should have easier access to the center. Mayor, I don't really know if there's any answer to that. I have never heard of it today that there was access issues to that center.
Yeah, Mr. President, I've never heard of any issues at all. Folks can call my office to get access to that. Through Debbie Carr, we coordinate all those schedules and many different activities that we have in that community center that we host, whether it's the county veterans meetings that are held there monthly, or a variety of other activities that are held there. So I've never heard of any issues with choice. But if you would like to call my office, I'm happy to discuss that with you.
Thank you, Mayor. The next question was from Elizabeth Holtzman from 2033 Broadacres Drive in the Clementon section of the township. Her question was, last week, both the planning and zoning board meetings were canceled. Why were each canceled? In the future, will you please note the reason for any canceled board meetings on your website so people can easily find out this information? I would direct this question to you, Mr. Lechner, if you can answer that for us.
Usually the planning board and zoning board meeting schedule is based upon the amount of applications that we have on the docket. Because a lot of applications have to give notice to property owners 10 days prior to the meeting, depending on when they come in, depends on whether or not I can get them on the next agenda. So in many instances, we can't put it on a particular agenda. We have to move it to the next agenda, which may cause a board meeting to be canceled. That's the main reason.
Who decides who cancels those meetings?
It's usually, I usually cancel it as the board secretary with consultation with the board, each respective board chairman.
Thank you. Now have the second public portion. Anyone wish to speak on any agenda item, please raise your hand and come to the microphone. Yes, ma'am. Any item.
Good evening. Judy Murphy, 18 Aberdeen Drive area. On April 18th, David Newman came in front of the redevelopment board to present his request to build homes on the land that's behind the Lowe's site. My understanding is that they were denied due to discussions about number of students per those homes for the township. We and White Oak, we've met with this developer 4 times last year, including members of council and the mayor. Because his original site plan is that he could put industrial back there, and his original project was to put in close to over 100 truck sites back there with their exhaust in our neighborhood. So after much discussion last year, we thought we had a tentative plan to put housing. We also discussed about how many students, and that was discussed also. I know Mr. Hutchison brought that up, but it was the Bluestein report stated that you can have, at 180 homes, it would be 18 students minimum. And so we have a little bit of concerns in the neighborhood. If this developer is denied, after much to do last year, putting in homes, which was the best option for the township, best option for the developer, and best options for our neighborhood, he has the right to go back and put his original plan, which would be industry back there. Now,
can I stop you right there,
Yep.
Judy? The redevelopment entity, which is council, did not deny him. What we did is we had some questions regarding his plan. And so we asked him to go back and gather some more information for us in order to be prepared for if there's any questions from the local residents. We wanted to have those questions on how wide. They had a basic picture, if you will, but there was really no architectural plan. So we wanted them to work with Mr. Lechner, answer some of the questions, and then bring it back to us so that we can then have a better idea of exactly what's going there. There were some questions about density, not a big issue, but we wanted to make sure that we answered every question because there was a lot of concerns from the residents, as you know. And everybody there was aware that we met with the residents. The residents were the ones that suggested some sort of housing. We even conferenced the Voorhees project, if you remember, with the stores, but we didn't believe stores and retail would really work there. So the entity was fully aware that this was something that was not approved, but was appealing to the residents, which was our goal, and the developer was aware of that and agreed to that. So before we rushed into something, we didn't want to start digging or start getting approvals without all the adequate information. One of them was, is there any reports out there that will tell us, give us better guidance on how many students there would be, or what's the likelihood, what type of house is it, where is the pricing going to be. Again, we didn't want to have a situation with any inferior product. And that was my concern. Hey, I want to know, is it going to be brick? Is it going to be substandard product being used? We wanted to make sure that this was, as I call it, like a Valley Brook situation where it will last the test of time. And so they went back. I mean, he wasn't happy. He wanted approval at that point, but I think the questions that were raised were good questions. We wanted to make sure that there was any other issues that had to be addressed.
So the blueprint that he brought to us at our workshop was pretty much what he brought to the redevelopment meeting in April, which was a blueprint. It had no defined information.
Yeah, I mean, he had some pictures, if you will, and I don't know the technical terms, but they were drawings, if you will, that showed like a brick structure with a garage, and it looked like it was more than 2 stories. So we knew that we didn't want high houses there. So again, we asked for some more additional information from him. We definitely don't want him putting in the industrial park there. We definitely did not approve of him putting apartments back there. This was, I felt, the best choice and the best decision to be made, but we also wanted to make sure it was going to be built so that it was the best product we could get there.
Okay.
And I don't know if council, anyone else on council has anything to add to that, or if you have anything additional.
I'll reserve my comments the next time he presents his hearing.
And Judy, I just wanted to say, I have sat through all the meetings with you, also with Glenn, and we truly are looking out for your best, for White's best interest. I also felt at that meeting, I think we were under the impression that that picture was kind of what it was going to look like, and come to find out that that's just that was just an idea, I think. So,
But they were building in Burlington County too. So.
yeah, so I also agreed at that moment that we need to get things clear. So I truly feel that we made the best interest for you.
I just want to just present a few other things. I know up in Jarvis and Choose Landing, I know there's a development that was approved within a 2-month period of time. It's 40 units up there. That was a very quick approval time. And I know 40 units, that's going to bring in students. And there's also Riviera Run that is not Section 8, but low income. I also know that that's in the area. I just wanted to make sure that he wasn't being denied just because he's being denied. And I did want to bring up some other issues that we've been having, and a number of our neighbors have called zoning, I'm sorry, not zoning, code enforcement. We are still having an incredible amount of issues with the stores behind us. Lowe's has a paging system. They weren't allowed to have that paging system when they were built. So now we're hearing all sorts of times of the day into the evening paging back there. Trash is being picked up late at night. It's on or very late at night, or 5:30 Saturday morning. That's what we're hearing. Since the Big Lot operation has come in, it's 24/7. There's trucks idling back there. There's trucks that are coming and going all day long, all weekend long. I think the only day that we don't hear something is Sunday. The lights were supposed to be going off around midnight. The lights have been left on. I don't know if that's because there's been issues. Before the odd lot came in, Circuit City was empty. There was a number of fires and other issues back there. But those lights are on all night long. And we know that you can hear them because the lights are on. The kids are back there. So you hear the clickety-clacks of skateboards and a few other things. Not a big deal during the day or evening, but late at night when you hear them. Cars racing. I've called the police department myself when you have the kids racing back there with their cars. There's a truck turnaround back there. That's a great place for some of these cars to do 360s, as you can hear them. One of those guys is going to go right into the reservoir one of these days. There's also been a lot of damage back there. There is tree damage. There's the maintenance group has sold to another maintenance group. It's very difficult to leave messages with them. They do not get back to you. But we are supposed to have barriers of trees. Those trees are dying, or they literally have snapped off because they're so dead. So we actually, I can see directly to the back of the stores. We have absolutely no barriers anymore. Because of all the tree damage. We have yet to get anybody to fix that. They're not answering any maintenance calls. So it's been a really big issue. So our concern was when we heard about what I thought was Newman being denied. Our concern was that if we get another factory or some kind of industrial back there, we're just having more and more problems. We got Boy Scouts back there trying to clean up trash back there, and it's a never-ending issue back there, including the reservoir the basin has had issues with bikes and all sorts of stuff that's thrown in there. So I don't know how else to do to kind of get anybody from code to come out to see our concerns.
I'll leave that to the deputy
The
chief.
non-stop issue.
Ma'am, we'll, with Lowe's and the buildings, I wasn't aware, but I'm aware of what they're supposed to be doing. Maybe management changed, but I know I'll have Corporal Grant and our Community Relations Bureau. We have pretty good rapport with most of the businesses there, so we'll be paying them visits tomorrow. We always have some of the issues we're really aware of, the cars speeding and all. We've had some good enforcement operations done where we've gotten, but we'll step up on that. We'll do a whole sweep of the whole area. I assure you we'll be on that this week. Okay, and code issues, it'll be top to bottom. It'll be traffic issues. We'll talk to the business owners and we'll have code enforcement and whatnot. And if there's anything else, we'll work with Public Works if there's any kind of cleanup areas or whatnot. Okay.
And the 2 fires were back there. We were told that they were purposely set for fire department training. Is that true, or?
Not to my knowledge. But I'll check on that. Should they? Someone told you they set fire for
Well, we've never gotten an answer. The one in February was a pretty extensive fire. That made us a little bit nervous.
I don't believe they set it. Now, whether it was the Forestry Service that
Because all
set
the
it
trucks
back
were back there, so.
I'll look into it. I'll find out for you. None that I'm aware of. They don't normally set fires unless, we did have a dry spell there with the unusual weather. And the Forestry Service, unfortunately, sometimes they weren't even notifying us. We tried to correct that because they're a state agency that they need to let us know. So we have our community notification system that we would put it out to the residents and whatnot. So, but I'm not aware of that, but I'll try and find out. Certainly that's not something.
One was in the field and one was in the basin.
Okay.
And that's literally behind a number of our homes.
Okay.
So that was a concern.
No, I don't blame you. You know, I assure you we'll be on these items for you.
Thank you very much.
Deputy
Thank you.
Chief, is there a way of communicating this out to the neighborhood there?
Yes,
Whether
we're
it's
doing-
on the website or if you have your special?
Yeah, we'll do our notification system. We'll probably, we'll do what we, door hanger operation where we'll put people encouraging them to sign
Oh,
up.
that'd be great.
And that's one of the best way of getting it out, but we'll have a whole sweep of the whole area.
Okay,
We'll
thank
do
you.
that within the next 2 weeks.
Can I ask a quick question? Judy, can I ask a quick question?
Yeah.
There are new owners, correct?
Yes, there are.
And I recall you had these concerns last year around this time as well. When we had our planning agreement with Newman at the time, a lot of these issues were brought up as far
Yes.
as the lights, idling trucks, when deliveries are being made. Is that something that transfers to the new ownership group for that particular property?
I believe it does, because the fact that the shopping center is there, it's there based on the approval of the planning board. Now, I'll let Deputy Chief know.
The idling shouldn't be happening anywhere like that. And again, they may not know, I can't say, but they will know this week, I assure you that. And we'll try
Make sure they put signs up or something?
Yeah, we'll do a whole.
Do we have contact information for that new ownership group?
It's Metro.
Metro Commercial. The contact person, his name is Tom Durham, but he does not get back to us.
We'll get a hold of them.
Okay.
Thanks, Lorraine.
Anybody else? Thank you. Thank you, Judy. Yes, sir.
Paul Bartolo, High Avenue, Blackwood. Could I bring forth two issues, one short one, and then more important one. Heard something about the intersection of Black Horse Pike and Shoes Landing Road, going to be doing away with the straight across onto Front Street.
Right.
Okay, I don't know. My opinion of that, I've come to that intersections from both directions in the morning. My opinion is that you have drivers on Shoes Landing Road that are extremely defensive, and the real problem there is they won't go until somebody actually comes to a stop. I mean, instead of feeding in, somebody might want to consider a light there. As much as I don't like seeing more red lights, I don't know what will solve that problem there other than a red light, because people just will not go, and that's what clogs it up. But a secondary issue. I would like to try to clarify something from the mayor that he said about the taxes. Could I ask him a question?
Sure.
You said something about 5 cents a year. Is that 5 cents on 1,000? Is that what we're talking about? 100? I mean, 100 on 1,000?
Well, over the last 25 years, on average, the township has raised taxes 5 cents a year over the last 25 years.
5 cents
for $100 assessment.
For $100, okay. I would just like to point out, to me, this issue isn't going away, the red light cameras. Okay, you might know there are a number of towns and cities that are getting rid of them now. I thought it was first of all, I consider it a hidden tax. And I thought it was interesting that an article or the organization in charge came out and said, hey, good news, it's not local people. Unfortunately, they confused Gloucester Township with Gloucester City, and that's what they were looking at. Once they retooled and said, oh, guess what? It's Blackwood is number one. Those red light cameras are punishing the local residents in that area right around Blackwood Clementon Road. That's who's paying the fines. Now, people that are blowing red lights, definitely, that's a problem. But people who are coming to some of them lights and making a right-hand turn, especially, I would say, at Ariel Road, where there's never anybody coming across there. I really think that I represent a lot of people, I think, when I say that the residents in the area, I don't think, are happy with it. We're the ones that are paying it. And you might say our taxes aren't going up, but they are going up because that's a hidden tax. And I really think that we need to rethink that whole idea. Thank you.
Right?
Good evening, Council. Ray Polidor, Ariel. This is the first regular council meeting since the activity had gone on at the last meeting. I have not seen on either TV or read in any articles as to whether this township, whether the council or the administration or anyone had taken the liberty of apologizing to the resident that this altercation took place with. And this, when I ask this, I don't mean this in a personal way towards the Public Works Director personally, just the fact of what this township has done after the fact with regards to the resident. My question directly is, has council or anyone on council apologized to the resident as of this moment?
No, Ray, and I think the mayor, that's an administrative issue, and I feel the mayor has handled it appropriately, and we'll leave it at that.
Okay, and the reason I ask council is it happened in chambers, and as obviously you're aware, decorum and conduct in this council room is under your jurisdiction. That's why I'm asking if you gave the respect to the resident in this chambers, any apologies to that. And I guess the next question would be directed at the mayor, if he so chooses to answer. Has the administration apologized to the resident after this altercation?
Again, I think the mayor handled the situation appropriately, and as far as I'm concerned, the issue is behind us. and that's about it.
Okay. Well, I'm going to respond to that by saying that regardless of who that resident was, or whatever the history may indicate, when a resident receives that type of treatment and the township chooses to hope that it goes away, I think that's sheer arrogance, and I don't believe that that ignoring it is going to make it go away.
I think you're wrong there, Ray. It was not ignored. I apologize for interrupting you, but it was not ignored. The mayor took control of the situation. He gathered all his information. He gathered a lot of people to make sure he made the right decision, and he made the decision. When I meant it's behind us, we learn from it and we move on, Ray. And I think that's the best way to handle that.
The gentleman that this occurred with, and we all know who we're talking about here, this occurred at a public meeting over the Ustream and various other entities, including local Philadelphia News. And I just thought that it would be above politics and more the human factor. It doesn't mean that you're wrong to apologize, but it does mean that someone is sorry for the actions that took place in this chamber. And I think it was a sore spot and a black eye for this township, and I believe the least this township could do is apologize to that gentleman. So if you see it in your opinion or in your hearts before the end of this council meeting, it would be the appropriate thing to do, considering the human factor, and again, we're talking about a resident. Forget about the history, forget about the politics. From one man to another, from one entity to a resident. I just think that would be the appropriate thing to do. Thank you.
Thank you, Ray. Anyone else? Mr. Glad?
Aaron Gladden, 44 Greens Way. Okay, I was that entity last week. I was that resident a couple weeks back. I reflected, a lot of thought. I actually watched the video in a couple different poses of entity, and I really do feel the arrogance of council and the mayor's administration is like a wildfire. I mean, it's set ablaze, and it's going to take a couple firemen to put this thing out, because one is, I'm not coming here to pick a fight with anybody. Nobody wants to fight. Nobody does. You want to see things get done. Now, everybody has a bad day, and people don't like what people say sometimes, and it might hurt your feelings and stuff like that. And you might read things about you that hurt your feelings. But in a day, it's called showing respect. Now, if you want to be shown respect, you got to start manning up and apologizing for what you have done and what's your man's actions. Now, I waited a week for this administration to get back to me. The only people that knocked on my door was Fox News. And they said, do you have something to say about this video? And I said, yes, I do. You know what I mean? Because I could speak for my own self. And what I felt, it was a disgrace. I sit up here, I've been called a liar by the mayor when I first started coming to council meetings. I've been called a liar by his public works official, that is his leader. And a week later, we still had trash being blown all over the place. A week later. Not the next day. Not 3 days later. The week later, when Fox does its report, they go out there and throw us another black eye in that face. And we're going to sit tall, and we're going to lead, say, our mayor took care of the situation. Well, you know what? You're council. The mayor has his agendas. The mayor pushes it to you. You have your own voices. You're voted in by the people yourselves. It's not a team. It's a team when we all come together, but we're all not coming together. You're actually splitting this town apart. Thank you and have a nice day.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Good evening. John Schmidt, Gloucester City, New Jersey. I have two issues tonight. I'm brief if I come up and address the other one later. The first one I'd like to address something that I thought was closed and done. I understand how slow, unfortunately, government does move sometimes. Attending a lot of meetings, being involved with myself in different aspects. Something I wanted to follow up on, but I also wanted to give some time. Melissa, probably about 2 months ago, I addressed this council regarding some concerns I have, and particularly at the time regarding planning and zoning board members, particularly Mr. Pillow and Mr. Bucciaroni. Let me first give credit to Council President for taking the appropriate action, which was necessary. I wasn't too impressed with the bantering around the bush, or dancing around the fire, whatever you want to call it, by the solicitor, you know, with his explanation. Well, he was in this class or that class, he was in class 4, he couldn't be in it, just come out and say it. There's 3 issues left, and I know he did an investigation. I want to ask, to the extent, was his investigation only in regards to planning board members? Because I also addressed originally zoning board members, and I'm curious, has an investigation ever been done regarding zoning board members?
Yeah, I reviewed the appointments on the zoning board, and I found no impropriety or misappointments. I also indicated at that meeting several months back that the township, I communicated with the clerk's office, and to avoid appointments being made that might fall through the cracks, the issue was Mr. Actually classification is a class 4, should not have been a class 4 member of that board. What we're doing now, I have a full list of all appointments in my office. As the appointments come through the administration, either through council or the mayor's office, the clerk's going to provide me a copy of all the requested appointments, and I'll review them first to see if there is any conflicts.
Okay. Under that, as you know, from reviewing this, Zoning Board of Adjustment under NJSA 40:55D-69. In it, it states no member may hold any elective office or position under the municipality. Certainly, the municipality extends to your other boards, whether they're in-house or an independent authority underneath the township, whether it be housing, MUA, some kinds of sewer. And I don't want to butcher the last name, but there's a Frank Cimarelia, who's on your zoning board. He's also on the MUA. No member may hold any elective office or position under the municipality. The MUA is a position underneath the municipality. And he's also on the zoning board. Additionally, there's a Phyllis Giusti, Giusti, who's on your Human Relations Commission, a position under the municipality. Are they still currently serving? According to the MUA website, he's the vice chair of the MUA. I'm not sure about Phyllis. She's on the Human Relations Commission, but they're both positions under the municipality. Curious, how are they still on the zoning board?
I don't believe any of those positions are conflicted in their appointments on the zoning board of adjustment.
The law says no member may hold any elective office or position under the municipality. So you're saying those two are not positions under the municipality?
That's correct. Under the definition of what positions they hold in what capacity, as far as advisory boards or commissions or what, they are not in conflict.
I think the council needs to relook at those issues. If you're on an MUA, a municipal MUA, that's not a position under the municipality. I'm not sure what is. My next question is in regards to an Oprah request I put in. I had attended Pine Hill's council meeting last Monday night as an issue I've been following up there, which appeared on NBC 10 Investigators, with the mayor having members of the fire department put a roof on his house with the construction of a minor child. That's a brief summary. And some people from Gloucester Township had come over after this meeting over there. There were some people from Gloucester Township at that meeting. And I was told by one of them that at the last meeting, and regardless of whether he was texting people from Pine Hill or not, that Tom Cardis, your business administrator meeting, was text messaging. I put in an Oprah request for that because that would be, could he be emailing a government official, whether here or whether in Pine Hill, could it be related to government? There's a lot of interconnections in Gloucester, between Gloucester Township and Pine Hill, if you really dig into Pine Hill and what has been buried there. And so I got a put that request into your clerk, wrote to Josie this morning, got a response back. And it was a memo from Tom Carter stating that, yes, he was using his cell phone, but that he swears it was for personal use, and he won't give over his cell phone. Well, that's his word.
That is my personal cell phone.
Oh, you could certainly, do you have Chris Green's number in your personal cell phone? Or anyone from Pine Hill for that matter?
I do.
Were you
Ask me
texting?
if I communicated with Pine Hill.
Were you texting
Ask me if I
any?
communicated with Pine Hill.
Were you?
No, I did not communicate with Pine Hill.
Were you texting any of it? Can I ask him where did you and Mr. Carter?
Let me just understand something before you go on.
I won't go into.
But was he here, in a meeting here, texting?
Yes, he was.
And you saw him text here?
No, I was not here.
You were told that?
Yes, by multiple individuals who were here.
Okay.
Who came over, and I met in the parking lot.
Okay, I believe, and you could guide us on this, Mr. Cardis gave a response saying that it was his personal phone and had nothing to do with any business. Now, is there anything else Mr. Cardis needs to do by law to assure Mr. Schmidt that?
No, there's nothing else. When I spoke to Mr. Cardis earlier today, I also spoke to the clerk earlier today, the use of the personal cell phone, that he was not texting on any governmental issue. He was not texting to any other council member or anybody in this room at the time of that meeting. It was his personal cell phone on personal business. It's not subject to overhead. You probably know.
Has the clerk. Did the clerk see those text messages? And she, as the official custodian of record, you're a solicitor, you're a business administrator. The buck stops with the clerk in terms of Oprah.
Well,
it begins with her and it ends with her. Did she review them to determine whether it was a public record or not, as it's her statutory responsibility to make that ruling and only hers?
It's
How
not.
far does the clerk go with
It is not the clerk's obligation statutorily to review what your request is. The clerk has to respond to your request. Your request deals with other agencies or governmental officials. She makes the inquiry. She gets the response back. She has to communicate to you, who made the Oprah request, what that response is. If you want to challenge that response, you can. But I'm telling you, under Oprah, Mr. Cardis does not have an obligation to provide you, his or anyone, his personal cell phone, as long as he is not communicating that to members of government during the course of a government meeting on government issues. If you want to challenge it, let me finish, sir. If you want to challenge it, you can file an Oprah.
Oh, I am very well aware of what I can do.
I know you
but
are.
It's his. Do we truly know could he be texting a public works supervisor or a police lieutenant? We just don't know. It could be government. It could be. It's his word. But it could be, because if he was texting, it would be in violation of the Open Public Meetings Act, which would be my next point. Not saying a violation occurred, but if you look at the Medford case, which dealt with email communication, and with the Burlington County prosecutor last year, did bring up new technologies, as emails wasn't around 1976, and even extended it to text messages. And some towns don't even don't bring your cell phones to meetings. You come in, you put them in a box. If you need to go out, you grab your cell phone, and you get out of the room. So you have no appearance. So you have.
Let him finish.
Check yours at the door, and I'll check mine.
Let him finish, Tom.
So you have no appearance of impropriety. And maybe the township, when at a meeting, should not use cell phones, not pull them out, and if there is a need to use it, you quietly step out of the room.
Thank you for that advice.
Maybe that
Council
could.
President, may I ask, Mr. Schmidt, I have 4 children. I have an 18-year-old child watching my 3 children at home. My wife works until 8 o'clock and won't get home until 9:30. Are you suggesting that it would be improper for me to have my phone with me in case a problem occurs at my house?
No.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure.
Maybe you could have it with you, but in the event that there is a message, you could take it out so it won't be at the table.
The problem, if I may, and I don't want to get into a long heated debate, I care what you have to say. I do. And if my daughter texts me and says, Dad, Brian's an animal, that may not justify me getting up and leaving. I still can be patient and listen to you. Maybe I can just quickly throw under here, deal with the situation. I'll be home in an hour. there's gotta be some common sense that we all can live with. I mean, Tom's got kids.
I liked if I could point something out. You have the tape, obviously, so you can go back and you can look at it. I'd like to put forth to you, how long was that text? Was that text me just looking at it and making a response? Time it, because I will guarantee you that it was over and done with within 7 to 10 seconds. So you check it, you let me know. And please, tell me what this underlying assertion is about Pine Hill. What could I have transferred over to Pine Hill that affected the way that...
I don't think we need to
You could have been
discuss
given
Pine Hill.
advice, and if I could ask, where did you and Mr. Carlinger go off to at the end of the meeting?
Where does it go?
You and Mr. Carlinger left together, correct?
No, I did not.
It doesn't, look, John, it doesn't, your question was...
Maybe I was wrong with that part,
Your
but
question, hold it.
Is there something you know about?
Your question...
no, I was trying to find out if they were going over to Pine Hill.
John, your question was, you're using your cell phone, think about how to use it.
Yes,
We
that's-
take that under advisement. Thank you for
And
that.
I stopped at the
Thank you.
stop sign and I left. So
Thank you.
That
Well,
doesn't matter.
thank you.
in case you're watching it.
Yes, ma'am.
Cheryl Kamianik, 4 Bicentennial Court. I came before council some time ago about a retention basin in my neighborhood, and I haven't seen anything, and I did get a call back from Rhoda Josie, she's the only one that returned the call, and told me that they were going to be working on it in the budget, when the budget was complete. I haven't seen nothing, the summer's coming, the water's still sitting there,
Can you tell me where this is, please?
on 4, and Bicentennial Court, it's a court.
Bicentennial Court? Is that in the budget?
It's in the capital budget.
It is in the capital budget. So
What's the status on it? Because the summer's coming
well, the
and,
capital budget's been approved, so I imagine it's going out for a bid.
Engineers have been out there.
It's budgeted for $120,210 for construction. Engineering design is $20,400 with inspections and $6,000 for a total project cost of $140,000.
it's a mess.
Well, it's in the process now of going out for award.
Okay.
Okay,
So, time frame, because summer's coming and the water's still sitting there and it's rancid.
I believe the engineer has to submit his proposals on this for approval. I don't know that CES through Norm Rogers has submitted those yet.
Okay, so
We'll have to follow up.
if you could follow up on that, Tom.
Will I get a phone call or
And then
something?
please call,
Does Ro have your number?
Yeah, she has my number.
if you walk it over, give it to
Okay.
her, please.
Thank you.
Chairman, when we did our status report, Norm Rogers from CS indicated they were scheduling surveys those last month.
Okay.
Whether they got out there yet or not, we're in the process of scheduling the surveys.
Thank you. Anyone else? Hi, Joanne. By the way, nice job down there at Gabriel Davies.
That's what I wanted to talk to you about. Joanne Carr, Plymouth Drive. We had our open house at Gabriel Davies, and it was a marvelous success. We had a nice write-up in the paper, and it brought out so many people who cared about history. It wasn't, and I don't want it to mean this, but usually we have the kids singing and the parents are there. We didn't have the children singing this time, and the people that were there for history. And it was really a beautiful day. I wanted to point out 2 things that are happening at the town. The work that's going on at the township is gorgeous. The sign on Floodgate Road really makes it a destination. You have arrived at the historical house, and it is really lovely.
Like it opened up, they opened it up, you could see a lot.
Right.
I think it really beautified the whole area.
Right, and the Boy Scouts, everybody, they did a nice job cleaning it up and putting flowers around. The day after the opening, the police responded to a call because I guess some people were so thrilled with the thought of history, they were out there with their metal detectors, just digging around, checking, looking for whatever, and the police came out and speedily took care of them. I did, however, find out a week after that 2 deer had been poached from the property. There's a herd that runs there that has a buck, a 12-point buck, with 7 does. Well, now I think we're down to 5. But what concerns me is they were seen in the bed of a pickup truck leaving. And the only way they could have gotten them was with a crossbow. So how many kids are traversing those woods? If you know of any kids that wander the woods, tell them to wear something bright, because there's really not a lot we can do.
Chief, Deputy Chief, is there any signage we should put up to let them know that?
The way that
You don't want
those,
to mess
that
up the
land
area.
goes, I'm not aware of any, the hunting is just, I wasn't aware until I spoke with Ms. Carr tonight, but I'll look at it, we'll see what we can do. I don't know if there's anything.
Is that all in the ordinance of parks?
And it could be that they were, because I know how that creek runs, it goes back further off our property, along the creek, which is a possibility.
Well, I mean, it's not hunting season,
Right.
so we don't know the purpose for which these deer were taken. I mean, if somebody's hungry and they're taking it, that's one thing. Somebody just wants 12-point buck, that's another. But it's just the idea that the weapons being used, and given the terrain, since the deer were in the back of the pickup, I can only expect that they put them in there from Floodgate Road. So it's right there at that, I'm like, it's our property and then some of the neighbors. But it's still public property. Kids wander there all the time. They go fishing down the other end. So, you know, maybe if we just put a sign, or just put words out to the schools, you know, just say, if you're wandering down there, make sure you're wearing something bright, an orange or whatever, so that if these people are going to be illegal about it, at least they don't make a mistake and shoot you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Deputy Chief, could you just evaluate that for us?
Yeah, we will. In fact, I'll have our park patrols are starting up, and it's a perfect opportunity. We'll make sure that they communicate with any kids and whatnot through that area, because we've stepped that as part of our patrol area that gives real babies time and all that. So.
And at the interlining property, there will be a police substation, I think. That's what I'm calling it, but I mean,
There'll be some officers from time to time.
there should be some police presence there. Anyone else? Seeing no other hands, we close the second public portion. Calling of directors and council, please.
Mr. Malka?
Nothing to report.
Mr. Lechner?
Nothing to add, thanks.
Deputy Chief Harkins?
Only just to report to council, we've had some successful community relations events. The bike rodeo, we had approximately 50 children turn out, and it's gotten bigger every year. We had great participation with some of our the businesses and whatnot. All our DARE graduations are complete. We just had a DARE celebration on Saturday. Approximately 500 kids came out to Timber Creek for a party, and that was very successful, and they really enjoyed it. And I just want to thank Mayor, Council, Director Maffa for, we're honoring Police Week this week. We have a contingent of officers that travel down on their own time to Washington to the memorial, to attend the memorial celebration. I want to thank you for the resolution, and Director for making sure all the flags are lowered for tomorrow to half staff and honor law enforcement Memorial Day. So thank you, we appreciate it.
Thank you, Deputy Chief.
Mr. Carlemere?
I have nothing to report.
Mr. Cardis?
Nothing at this time.
Mr. Hutchison?
Briefly, I want to compliment the mayor, the administration, Tom, council. Fantastic. A+ rating, I mean, just incredible. That just validates what we're all doing, that we're heading in the right direction. And there were a couple of years ago where I wasn't very proud of where we were headed. And I am very proud of it now. I know where we're headed. Compliments to Timber Creek Wrestling. For those of you who aren't into wrestling, their achievements mirror, maybe exceed the 84-85 wrestling teams at Highland High School. Those teams at Highland were amazing, and this Timber Creek Wrestling team is amazing as well. I don't know much about marching band, but I'm very impressed that they have a 3.6 GPA. Mr. Burke, I listened to what you said. A lot of good ideas. I grew up running Black Republican Road as a kid, and it's in some serious need for help down there. glad to hear that Ms. Pomianic's situation is being rectified. Len, you've been getting beat up. And I said at the end of the meeting, and I want to reiterate it right now, you bring passion to your job. And I think you do a very good job. You are a credit to the town. I've already said that about the police. Darren, you're passionate as well. I mean, it's a shame that sometimes these things get heated. Tonight it almost happened with Mr. Schmidt and Mr. Cardis. Mr. Schmidt is very passionate about his topics. And you can see that Mr. Cardis was getting a little upset. But keep doing what you do.
Mr. Schmidt?
I would like to thank everyone for coming out this evening, for staying the entire length. Thank you for your comments and your passion.
Mr. Seiler?
Yes, I think the township is doing an outstanding job to get their credit rating increased. And I think the Timber Creek wrestling team and also marching band should be commended for the outstanding job that they have done too. Thank you.
Mrs. Gentek?
I'd also like to thank everyone for coming out tonight. Congratulations to the wrestling team and to the marching band. I am also so proud to be a part of this council. To the mayor, congratulations. To Mr. Cardis and Christy, great job always. To Len, great job for everything that you did. You worked really hard for us for the preparation of the historical the Gabriel Davies Tavern, sorry. You did a lot of work for us, so I thank you for that. Joanne, it really was, you're right, it was really it was a great day, and we did get to meet some really fascinating people who were very interested and knew a lot of new facts about the Gabriel Davies Tavern. So it was a good day, and it was great to see new faces there. The Historical Society takes a lot of pride in what they do. I've been to their meetings, and they really care, so I thank them for everything that they do. And Sharon Mickle with the Community Garden, we got so many new people who have bought plots, so I thank her for taking care for that. So thank you for coming out.
Mrs. Trotta?
I'd like to thank everyone for coming out and for their comments. Mr. Byrd, I'd like to thank you for approaching us and with your comments. I greatly appreciate it. It's always something new that I learn, so thank you for your visions. And congratulations to Timber Creek for their efforts. And Joanne, thank you for bringing that information to our attention. Being a resident in that area raises a lot of concerns for me, because I do know a lot of kids that do go back in that area and fish and ride their bikes through there. So thank you very much, and I will make sure that the people I know are aware of what's going on. And you guys are truly doing a remarkable job with that property back there. I remember when I first started at Glendora School years ago, Gabriel Davies was not even on the map. People didn't even know it existed in Glendora, and you guys have done an amazing, amazing job bringing it to the public's attention, and I'm so proud of being able to be a part of that. And it's great when you have affairs go on there. I get so many phone calls as to what the times are, what are they doing. So you've truly made a difference with that property. Thank you.
Mr. Mercado?
I want to thank the residents for coming out this evening. I apologize about my dress. I was at a baseball game coaching at Blackwood Kiwanis. I had abstained on the first reading of the ordinance for the Blackwood Kiwanis and the Broad Acres, the rec center Broad Acres. But I'll share with you some of my thoughts about Blackwood Kiwanis. My son has been part of that organization for the last 6 years, and I have coached for the last 6 years in that organization. And today his team got shellacked 14-3. It was a bad game, rough game. It wasn't the coaching. But afterwards, the coaches try to lift up the spirits of the team, and they singled out my son, how he runs every ball out, and he smiles, and sometimes he seems he's more interested in the snack stand than the results of the game. But I've seen his development over the last 6 years and how he interacts with other players and how players interact with each other. And when we see this dollar amount that we put on a bond ordinance, it's just not for a physical building or grading or drainage. It's about supporting 800 kids and families that are involved in Blackwood Kiwanis. And he's not a superstar player, but I think what has helped him, this league has helped him become a superstar person and his development in his interaction with coaches. So I want you to keep that in mind when you take a look at some of these ordinances that we passed for some of our projects for our athletic organizations throughout the township. Second, I attended the DARE graduation of the Lauren Fleming School. My son goes to Lauren Fleming. And I want to commend the police department for all the work they do. I also chaperoned the dance. These boys are woefully overmatched by the girls in the 5th grade. They're just, Dan's kid was there, Tracy's son was there. All the boys just run around and the girls just scream. But I see how they gravitate towards their DARE officers and the relationship that they have to them. So I commend the organization. And also to the mayor and any of our council colleagues and the legislative representatives that have attended these DARE programs and make these kids feel special when they shake their hand and pat them on the back. And they want to learn, and they're so interested in that DARE song, and I'm glad that we've carried that over to 7th grade as well. Tonight we passed a budget that had a 0 increase. We had an audit that had no findings, a clean audit, and our bond rating increased to A+. However, we sat here and talked about people more interested in apologies and text messages, and I guess, yes?
I want to watch the game, man.
Okay, you can leave, brother. But we sat here and talked about apologies and text messages, and I think people are more interested, not about a 0 increase in the budget, not that their township is on sound financial ground or we have an A+ rating, but they're interested on what next can they put on a website. Exactly, Darren.
Do you want me to?
No, it's my turn. It's my turn. I'm a public servant. I'm not a public punching bag, and I think people in the audience need to remember that. We're public servants, not public punching bags.
Mr. Gladden, that's enough.
And I'm not afraid to punch back. Keep that in mind.
Is that a
Thank
threat?
you. Have a good evening.
Is that a threat?
Mr. Gladden.
Is that a threat?
Mr. Gladden.
Is that a threat, sir? No, can I ask you a
Mr.
question?
Officer, can you please remove
Oh,
Mr.
I'll
Gladden?
do that, but that sounded like a threat.
Mr. Gladden, have a good night.
Mr. Bianchini.
Thank you. Again, I would like to thank all the residents for attending tonight's meeting. I want to congratulate the wrestlers. As the mayor pointed out, I did wrestle. I was not a lightweight, as I thought I was. But it's a great sport, and it takes a lot of work and effort to be good at wrestling, and so I can commend them. Again, all the music programs here in Gloucester Township, we honor Timber Creek, but Highland and Triton are fantastic programs, and I can tell you those children work as hard as the athletes. I've seen it, my son participates in it, and I'm just amazed every day, because I can tell you a lot of athletes couldn't do what they do, and how they step in time, and how they go and do a lot of things, and it's just amazing to me, and a lot of those kids excel as well as our athletes do. So it just does my heart good to see our young people achieving such, and you look at the grades, and it's just amazing. They're young athletes, young music students, and they do a great job. I just want to thank the Historical Society for what they do. Thank you, Mayor, for your guidance, and Tom and administration for setting out a goal 2.5 years ago, and achieving it with the good news that we had today. I thank you. I thank the police department for what they do for our township, for our young people. And I know you extended it to 7th grade, and I implore you to extend it into high school, because kids need to be reminded with all the pressures that go up into high school. As I've spoken many, many times about the challenges our young people, young teenagers and young adults with drugs. We really need to take it seriously, and I know the police department has, and they know they have the support of the mayor and council on that. And again, thank you to Public Works for your support of the Historical Society, and continue. I would just challenge everybody, take a ride around the township, go to Cherrywood, where there was the basketball courts were, the old hockey rink was turned into basketball courts, and the kids now have another place to play basketball. But look in front of that where it says Cherrywood Park in Gloucester Township. It was done relatively inexpensive, but it looks fantastic. Take a walk into our park where there was a wall, retaining wall built and special things put into it. We have over 100 fields. We give a lot to our young athletes. We give a lot to a lot of people. And I would just challenge everybody, before you take a swipe, we're not perfect, but take a look at all that we have done. And we continue to work hard for those organizations. We've given a lot, and we will continue, because it's the right thing to do. It's the right thing to do to support our youth, and I'm proud that we do that, and I'm proud to be on council to do that. With that, I'm asking for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All those in favor? Council, please don't go. You need to go to Rose's office. You got to sign the audit. Thank you.
Don't leave, don't leave. Tell her, Randall.